David Lawson, CU Boulder, Facilities Manager, and our submission is esteem weed management.
I'm Darren Willett. I'm the turf manager on the Boulder campus for housing and dining. I'm also part of the STEAM operation. The inspiration was we were required to not use pesticides in and around our students. Back in 2013, unfortunately, Boulder flooded, but out of that came an opportunity when our steam vaults overflowed, basically killed all the turf around these areas. The flood showed us, hot water and steam led across the landscape really might work. It was kind of the impetus to really go after, let's try to use a steam weed control system instead of pesticides. As we renovated them, what came back was, of course, the grass we planted and not the dandelions and the spurge and the weeds that had been in these areas. So kind of like, aha.
What we did in trying to solve those problems in not using pesticides in the landscape beds, it was all done by hand, and that just was not really feasible with the staff that we had. So we started looking at other options. Steam, out of Darren's experience, was one of the best options that we found. When we started to research steam, there was a company in Australia that seemed to be the leaders. There were several cities in Australia that had already banned the use of pesticides in the landscape. So when we contacted them, we started looking at that process. We brought that to CU Boulder. That's the steam machines that we're using now. We purchased one machine in the spring of 2015. We started in a test area. We were by hand. We were able to control weeds at a rate of about 1,500 square feet per hour. With the machine, we were able to get that up to nearly double in the first summer, and with repeated applications, that time's getting faster and faster. In the spring of 2016, the Facilities Management Group also purchased a machine and put it in operation. One of the nice benefits we saw from their operation, since they were still using some pesticides, they were able to cut their pesticide usage nearly in half by implementing steam. So it allowed us to solve one problem, which was pulling weeds by hand. We didn't have the labor to do it, but it also let them solve the problem of how do we reduce pesticide use on campus. The first machine was around $25,000, but that did include a very substantial training. The owner came in from Australia, spent a week with us teaching our guys how to use the machines.
So it's a nozzle with steam, saturated steam coming out. So basically we can direct it wherever we want. And so we're going inside of mulch and rocked beds. So you can go basically right up to the base of a perennial and eliminate anything around it. In layman's terms, it boils the plant till it's gone. Almost instantaneous. The plant will wilt, disintegrate into dust within 48 hours.
Another thing that's been great about this is it's a simple operation, and it's one that we've really employed students. When it's at the right operating temperature, it sounds like a cappuccino machine. The students are pretty familiar with that. And the student can use it on the plant. They know when the plant's dead, they move to the next one. I wish we were staffed that we could use the machines even more than we do, but they've been greatly successful in the areas that we have used them.
It's pretty amazing. And the place looks clean and weed-free a lot of the year. And from a labor standpoint, from the human being standpoint, you don't have to touch chemicals. You don't have to mix big tanks of toxic materials. You're not exposing students, faculty to this stuff. And even as ourselves, hand-picking weeds out of rocks and beds over, we have 10 acres in our own control. I mean, that's a daunting project. It's backbreaking work. So this, I believe we got a 70% increase in labor efficiency, and people are not literally killing themselves to create this standard that we've set.
And it also allows them to do higher level landscape tasks. So now instead of walking around and pulling weeds, which is one of the least desirable jobs that they could do, they could renovate a bed, they could plant perennial flowers, or they could do some pruning or take care of other ornamental plants that we've got. So not only do we have a better appearing campus, now some of that labor can be repurposed into making campus look even better.